Hey guys, welcome back to this channel. Thank you for stopping by watching our previous video. This time, we're going to show you the best fancy romance anime ever. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and ring the notification bell for more videos. Linguistically, fancy is something that relates to things that don't really exist, and it's just in the world of the mind. It doesn't come true. It also deals with supernatural things as one of the main plots in a movie or anime. Combined with the romance genre, fancy romance anime is very interesting to watch, regardless of the story presented. We'll also see various characters who are bound to each other. Here's a video of the best fancy romance anime ever you can watch in your leisure time. Happy watching! Number 10 is it wrong to try to pick up goals in a dungeon? Although the series features mobile action and comedy scenes, Danmachi is aware to put romance elements throughout the story. In spring 2015, Danmachi is adapted from a Japanese light novel series written by Fujina Mori and illustrated by Shizuhito Yasuda. The story takes place in the fictional city of Orarioto, when Kozo came down seeking excitement, limiting their divine powers. The story follows the exploits of Belgrano, an adventurer under the Codex Hastia, who was the only member of the Hastia familia. As an action-adventure anime, the romance presented is quite cliché, but still interesting enough to watch if you love romance stories. Number 9 is Kokka Connect. In summer 2012, Kokka Connect is a comedy slice of life anime filled with romance stories of each character. This television anime series is adapted from a Japanese light novel series written by Zadanatsu Onda, with illustrations by Shiro Mizakano. The story will revolve around several high school students facing numerous supernatural phenomena that forces them to reveal secrets that will test their bonds with each other. Taichi, Iori, Himeko, Yoshifumi, and Yui join the Student Cultural Research Club. All begins when an unknown entity called Hot Seed begins to change their lives with various supernatural phenomena. Number 8 is Maoyu Archenemy and Hero. Maoyu Archenemy and Hero is a romance story with different lives which were initially fated to fight, but the destiny leads them on a journey in the hope of peace. In winter 2013, Maoyu Archenemy and Hero or Maoyu Mao Yusha is adapted from a Japanese light novel series by Mamari Tono that was initially posted in a play format on the Textbook 2 channel in 2009. The story revolves two conflicting figures, humans and demons. Due to certain considerations, they eventually work together to carry out a plan to bring peace, both on the devil's side and on the human side. Number 7 is Snow White with a Red Hair. Having the original title of Akagami no Shirayuki Hime, Snow White with a Red Hair premiered in summer 2015, produced by Bones. It features a romance fantasy which is quite interesting. Adapted from a Japanese shoujo manga written by Surata Akizuki, the story follows a herbalist as she is idolized by men, regardless of her status as an herbalist. Shirayuki means Snow White. Although her name is Shirayuki, she's a cheerful girl with red hair who works as an apothecary at her herbal shop. All becomes complicated when she attracts Prince Raju's attention, who wants her to be his concubine. Thus, she met Zen with Talia. With developing stories that slowly learn to support each other as they walk their own path. Number 6 is The Devil is a Part-Timer. A comedy romance anime which aired in spring 2013 is adapted from a Japanese light novel series written by Satoshi Wagahara with illustrations by Oniku. The story centers on a demon king and a hero, as they are encountered by destiny when they are in the human world. The story begins with the demon lord Satan as he tried to conquer the world of Anti-Allah, but what's expected was different from reality. He was forced to retreat in the human world due to pressure from the usuals. The story will explore the personality of each character while enjoying life in this new world. Number 5 is Kamisama Kiss. There is one more pair of different worlds. At in fall 2012, Kamisama Kiss is a comedy romance anime adapted from a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Julieta Suzuki. The story will revolve around a young girl who has just received the title of a new god when she must meet a very stubborn fox spirit. It begins with Nanami Momozono, a homeless girl who doesn't have any place to live. All begins when a mistress man offers her a place to live where it's not a merely place to live, but a worship temple. From here, her normal life changes drastically with various supernatural phenomena and of course, a romance story that slowly follows her life unconsciously. Number 4 is Bakemonogatari. Bakemonogatari is a part of the Monogatari series which aired in summer 2009, carrying a romance supernatural as the main genre. Produced by Shaft, it's adapted from a Japanese light novel series written by Nizio Eisen and illustrated by Vovon. The story begins with Koyami Araragi as he survived from a vampire attack. Although being survived, he gets some ability of vampires, such as superhuman healing abilities and enhanced vision. Through several tales involving demons and gods, Bakemonogatari follows Araragi as he attempts to help those who suffer from supernatural maladies. Number 3 is Sword Art Online. You've probably known and loved this anime, or even you haven't watched it at all as there are too many spoilers that make it lazy to watch. Premiered in summer 2012, SAO is a franchise based on a Japanese light novel series written by Reiki Kawahara and illustrated by Abak. The story begins with the teenagers as they were encountered in a virtual reality world and began to fall in love in the real world. Kasta Kirigaya is one of thousands of people trapped in the virtual world. He meets a beautiful and interesting girl named Asuna Yuki. Besides that, to adapt to the changes, they carry out various deeper bonds. Number 2 is Fruits Basket. Adapted from a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Natsuki Takaya, Fruits Basket is a supernatural slice of life anime that tells the story of a beautiful girl as she has to face realities in her life. The story begins with Toru Honda. When her mother dies in a car accident, her life changes drastically that makes her not to have a place to go. However, her encounter with Ikizuma leads her to the deeper and complicated story with various mysterious phenomena. Number 1 is No Game No Life Zero. No Game No Life Zero is a movie anime based on the 6th volume of the light novel series No Game No Life by Yu Kamiya. Aired in 2017, produced by Madhouse, this movie will carry out various romance stories among the main characters. The story begins 6,000 years in the past, during the Great War, a worldwide conflict that involved the sentient races of the world. It begins with Riku, who is the leader of humanity's last colony as he has encountered Ex Machina severed from its race. The story revolves around Riku as a human and Ex Machina named Shui when they have to fight for their lives, while deepening the bond that exists between them. Well, that's all the list of the best fancy romance anime ever. Do you have any favorite ones on the list? If you do, let us know in the comment section below. Be sure to hit the like button and share this video as much as you can to friends if you really enjoy this. Thanks a lot for watching and see you next time.